biggest step in getting insurance to cover it, or getting VR to cover it, getting another funder to step in and help out.
What is AAC?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's alternative augmentative communication. So communication devices. Krista is our speech language pathologist on staff, so she's very good at looking at the whole range of high, medium, and low tech options for people to increase their communication. So, some of those devices are really expensive. It was funny. We had I think it was one of our board meetings, our advisory council meetings downstairs, and Chris was like, "Oh, I need the eye gaze brought down." So I'm like, "Okay." I went upstairs, and my coworker Martha was in there. And it was on a mount, so I was just going to wheel the whole shebang down. And Martha's like, "Oh no, she just wants the actual device." And I'm like, "Oh no, she can get it herself," because I think it's like a $20,000 device, and I know I'm not going to break it in theory, but there's always that lingering fear in the back of my head, like, what if it falls down the stairs? And no. But when you look at that, I mean, it's $20,000, but it's giving a person access to everything. Access to finding employment, to interacting with people at the grocery store, to, buying that movie ticket, going out to eat. It does a lot. And with communication devices, insurance can cover that, Medicaid can cover some of that. But you're still going to be left with something to pay at the end. So if you're looking at like Medicare, you're looking at 20% of that $20,000 that you have to come up with. So that's where somebody can come through the loan program to get that last bit so that they can get their device. Very important. Do visit our website. So I've given it up before, gatfl.org. There are a lot of other resources on the website. So we have an app finder database. If anybody has, if you haven't used that, I recommend it, because there's millions and millions of apps out there, and we've kind of taken and curated some of the ones that we've experimented with and found to be good and reliable, and those are on. So you can go on that website, you can look, you can search by operating system. So if you have an iOS device from Apple, if you have an Android device, we have Windows mobile apps. And if you're still carrying around that BlackBerry, we have some BlackBerry apps as well. So you don't see the BlackBerries out in the wild as much anymore, but people do still, people will hold on to those mobile devices until they are dust. So that, we do have that there.
What's the website again?
gatfl.org. And the presentation that I'm working with right now, that is going to be on our wiki, and I'll make sure that we get a link sent out so that you can download it. It'll be in an accessible PDF format, so it'll work with screen readers, or work with people that have print-related disabilities. And that's, anytime we send a presentation out, we always make sure that it is accessible from the go. We never want to send something out that a person isn't going to be able to access. Okay, so some other resources to be aware of, and some of these are national resources. So the Muscular Dystrophy Association, MDA, they have some equipment and assistance programs, so they can help you get some small AT. They also have a repair and maintenance program and a peer support program. So I know peer support is a service provided by all Centers for Independent Living. What I didn't say was I used to work at a Center for Independent Living. I worked at Disability Link in Atlanta for 5 years doing all kinds of stuff. I did social media and assistive technology and all that good stuff. So I'm a big fan of Centers for Independent Living. I think they're a very important resource for people in Georgia. Some other options to look at, the Pass It On Center. This is for assistive technology reuse. So you can go to passitoncenter.org, and there it's a national database. So you can find reuse options. Sometimes I'm sure you probably get calls from people in other states that maybe have stumbled upon your number somehow, and they're like, I'm in North Carolina and I need a device, or I need some equipment. If you go to the Pass It On Center, we have got a whole list of places throughout the states, all 50 states the territories, so that you can look to find a center that's close to them that can find that reused option. And reuse is very important. It's very vital to providing access. The next program, some of these you may be familiar with. So the Georgia Telecommunications Equipment Distribution Program, or GATEDP, if you want to shorten it, GATEDP. This is a program from the Georgia Center for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. And if you're working with somebody who has deaf, hard of hearing, or with a communication-related disability, they can go through this program to get things like a captioned phone, audio amplification. I think they can do visual alerts. They do a whole slew of technology. And Krista was letting me know that they can do communication devices as well through that program. So this is it's a program that doesn't cost the individual anything. This is paid for by a tax on your phones that everybody's paying. So it's funded through the FCC. You can learn more about it by going to the website for the Georgia Center for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. I'm going to give you the one that I can remember, which is gachi.org. It used to be the Georgia Council for the Hearing Impaired, GACHI, and then sort of recently they changed their name and all that. Also through the Georgia Center for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing is the I Can Connect Georgia program. This is another program that's paid for with funds by the FCC, by a tax. And this program is specifically for people that are deaf or hard of hearing. People with dual sensory disabilities. So you have to be blind or low vision and deaf or hard of hearing. You have to have some degree of vision and some degree of hearing loss to be eligible for this program. But it's a little more broad than the telecommunications equipment distribution program, because this one can do computers. It can do things that access the internet. I know people that have gotten a smartphone through the I Can Connect program, a computer, bless you.
Thank you.
iPads. It's anything that's going to increase your access. So with this program, you do have to, there are some income requirements, and you have to have phone or internet service at your home. But again, this is equipment that a person can get that doesn't cost the consumer anything out of pocket. So as long as you can provide the documentation they need to prove your dual sensory disability, then you can move forward with that. Definitely worth checking out. I always try to send people over there. I'm like, make them work, make them get that stuff distributed, because we want to ensure that programs like this, we show that there's a need, we show that people are using it so that it continues. Before I mentioned Georgia Lions Lighthouse, they can be used for glasses and hearing aids. Glasses are also, they can be very expensive. I do use glasses, so I'm well aware of how frightfully pricey eyewear can be, especially for people with complicated vision needs. I'm one of them. So, like I said, they have a mobile eye clinic, and they can do that sliding scale for the glasses as well. If you Google Georgia Lions Lighthouse, it'll pull that right up. So those are some of the resources you have at your disposal. Do you have any questions or comments for me about any of the stuff I've covered so far?
So the Tools for Life program that you work with, it's funded through a grant, is that correct?
We have, so we are a federally funded program.
Okay.
But we also work with a lot of different partners throughout the state. So we have a few different funding streams. Like we're working with DBHDD, the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, on a program. Our partnership with Center for Financial Independence and Innovation brings in some funds. So we're always looking at those collaborative partnerships that we can do. So we get funds from, HHS primarily is what comes with the AT Act funding.
Can the consumer come directly to you, or we have to go through organization like Life?
No, they can come directly through to us. That's fine. I get a lot of calls from people throughout the state. And like I said, we serve all areas, all ages, all disabilities, all areas of Georgia. I mean, narrow that down a little bit. All areas of Georgia we can work with. So, yeah, people can they can come through a center. They can come to us directly. Either way is perfectly fine.
Is G-Trade its own site, or do you go through the other website, GATFL?
G-Trade is its own site, but we
Okay.
link to it from the main page
Link
as
to it from
well.
the main page, okay.
So you can go to gtradeonline.org, or you can go to our website, and there's a link on the right-hand side for that. G-Trade is another website that I'm working on updating and making a little more user-friendly.
Yes.
So again, feel free to send me any feedback. Be ugly with it, I can take it. Because I inherited these websites. These were existed before I came on board, and I'm just working to make them better and to try to get people to use them a little more.
Your Tools for Life research, is that done in Atlanta? You were talking about video game research and PC research for certain disabilities.
Yeah,
and
so
everything. It's all done in Atlanta?
Those are
or-
done at in our office in Atlanta.
Atlanta,
So we
okay.
have when you come in our office, we're kind of scattered here and there in the AMAC office.
Yes, sir.
But we have our main assistive technology lab, which has a lot of assisted daily living items and the musical stuff. And then my coworker Ben has the environmental access lab, and
Right.
that's what's got the Xbox, the gaming stuff, the environmental controls, and things like that. So we show how you can use the Amazon Echo to control your lights and your thermostat.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to be exploring some of those other options now. One of the things with Tools for Life is we're never going to tell somebody what they need to get.
Yes, sir.
We're going to give the options, so that makes us, in pretty good alignment with the independent living philosophy. We're going to say, okay, here lately we've had the Amazon Echo, and we've been recommending that because it's been what has been out there that does the most. But now you have the Google Home. You have Microsoft eventually is going to be coming out with their competitor to the Amazon Echo. Google or Apple HomeKit is another option. So now it's great because we can say, okay, what do you have? What do you already have that maybe we can hook into to work with that environmental control? So we'll tell them, yeah, you can use the Echo, you can use the Home. If you have an iOS device, you can use the your iPhone or your iPad. So it's great to give them those that freedom to choose.
On your website, does it show things that, like research things that you're working on per se? Like say I can't make it to Atlanta, does it go kind of look and see kind of what's being developed and that kind of thing?
With that, you can look at, so we're always doing presentations. We do have an archive on the website of the presentations we've done. So you can look to see, Ben has done a lot of stuff with that home mod. Also, you can give him a call and say, hey, I want to talk a little bit more about what's going on
Yes, sir.
with that. So, yeah, we have stuff online, and you're welcome to contact directly to get some of that information. If you're working with a person to get them set up, we have a video of a person we worked with for the Money Follows the Person program. It's a really good success story. This woman, she acquired a spinal cord injury. She was at Shepherd doing rehab, and then some funds ran out. She went up in a nursing home. She was there for, I think, 6 months, something like that. While she was in the nursing home, she was depressed. She had a sore that wouldn't heal. It was just, she was in a bad place in so many respects. With Money Follows the Person, we were able to work with her and get her set up at home with, an Echo, some voice-controlled lights, and a thermostat, and, getting her set up in an apartment that, she was in control of, her being able to control her environment. Now she's talking about, I think I want to go back to school, I want to go back to work. She now sees way more possibilities because of that. So if you have somebody that you're working with that you want to experiment with some of those environmental controls, let us know. We can ship things down to you to try out.
Okay.
If it's something we have in our inventory, that's our, that's part of our mission is to give that access to technology. So, we'll ship down an Echo to try out and some stuff that we have, and you can let the person give it a go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. anything like that, it's even with me, you know, I'm not cerebral palsy with one arm, so I mean, you know, things I might be able to do with one hand, like you're talking about video games and that kind of
Yeah.
thing, being able to, you know, assist technology, because I can't do any of it now because there's too many controls.
Yeah, Ben was looking at with some of the controllers with the newer systems, you can map everything to be one-handed use. We have some accessible controls and some alternative controls, so
Right. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Can we
Anything
look
like
at
that.
it?
Right.
And-
Yes, sir.
yeah.
With setting up the Echo, if you've got somebody that shares the house, when you're talking about doing the thermostat,
Mhm.
does what needs to be done in the house in order for that one person to be able to manipulate their portion?
Mhm. So if they have, the way it would work is, it is with the setup. So if you have, you know, 2 smart thermostats in the house, you can set the Echo up to say, okay, you know, Alexa, turn on the downstairs, you know, set the downstairs thermostat to 70 degrees. Same thing with the Apple HomeKit. You can determine which thermostat it is. And if you only have one thermostat and that's the one that the person uses downstairs, then all the better. Then that's just one device to set up. But yeah, that is part of that setup. Same thing with the light bulb. So you know, if
Right.
you have the smart lights,
I've seen the smart lights,
Mhm.
so I knew that was an easy fix, but I wasn't sure how extensive the fix would be to set up the household.
yeah, it's not as long as you have the 2 smart thermostats, then they can be separated with a voice command.
It'll be different accounts too, 2 separate accounts, for say Google, that kind of thing, you can
Mhm.
switch between the 2.
Yeah. And that's, you know, when we were talking about the gaming I want to share with my coworker Liz, she's got the setup at her house with the voice controlled lights and all that good stuff. And I think it was last Valentine's Day, Ben set her up with the whole Philips Hue system. So she's like, yeah, it's great because they come in from like the grocery store and she can say, oh, I'll get the lights, and she'll get the lights with her voice. Or if they're having movie night, you know, Ben needs to go get some snacks. She's like, I feel like I'm participating because before she wasn't able to just reach over and slip the light on. And now she's like, yeah, you know, Alexa, turn light 3 on. And he's got his walking light to the kitchen to get her snacks.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I love I'm excited that we're experimenting with that environmental control because, you know, with our woman with the MFP program, you know, now she doesn't have to wait on her attendant to come in to adjust the temperature because, you know, Georgia, the temperature swings wildly. So look at this week, for instance, you know, we got 30 degrees one day and then 70 the next. She doesn't have to wait on somebody to adjust her temperature to make it comfortable. She has full control over that. And that's, you know, for a lot of people, they're like, oh, it's just a little thing. But it's like, no, that's a big thing. If I'm sweaty, I want that temperature changed now, not 2 hours from now when the attendant comes in. I didn't do well with heat. So.
A friend of mine had just got one of those, and he was demonstrating it for me the other day. His daughter's birthday, and it was really neat how he was able to turn the temperature up and down and lights and everything.
Well, yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, Martha got my coworker Martha, she got the Dot, the small one. And she's like, yeah, when I got it, you know, she's like laying on the couch, just adjusting her temperature to see if it would work.
Yes, sir.
I was like, and that's how you end up with a $500 light bill.
That's right.
Playing around with that thermostat too much. But, you know, it works well. And
Oh, yes, sir.
the price points for a lot of these devices are getting better. One thing we look at is universal design.
Yes.
And the Echo is a perfect example of that universal design. It's, you know, it's meant for anybody to use, but look at all these controls that we have added on. If you have a communication device, you can control the Echo with your communication device. My boss, Carolyn, learned that. Her daughter uses a communication device, and she had come into the house one day, and the Echo was just turned up to 11, blaring Taylor Swift, and she's like, oh my God. So she's like, this thing's possessed. So she turns the sound down, goes back out to the car to get some groceries, comes back, and then again, the thing's blaring Taylor Swift at like full volume.
Yes.
She looks at the communication device, and sure enough, Mira was like, Alexa, play Taylor Swift at 10.
Oh, Lord.
And there she was. So Because of that, Mira, the daughter, she got to meet the guy that is developing the Amazon Echo. He was impressed to learn that
Just
you know
unlock
he
the
didn't
daughter's device.
he didn't consider communication devices with that device, and he was excited to learn that it works. And he's looking at expanding some of that connectivity and those options. So
And now there are parental controls.
yes, yes. I think Mira also had taken advantage of the instant ordering. So like a big box of Amazon stuff shows up one day, and Colonel's like, I didn't order any of this. What? So things to keep in mind, especially if you have young ones running around. Set up those locks and turn off voice ordering.
Can you remind me what the GATEPD stands for?
It's the Georgia Telecommunications Equipment Distribution Program. We live in a world of acronyms. And I'm pretty good at remembering most of them, but every now and then one slips past me, I don't get it. Even at AMAC, we have tons of acronyms floating around. AMAC itself used to be an acronym, and then now they're like, no, it's just a word. We're going to make AMAC a word. But I mean, if you have, if you have consumers that are in college and they're looking for some of that accessibility, just let them know that if the place that they're attending is a member of the University System of Georgia, all of the schools in the USG are members of AMAC. So they have access to software for people that have dyslexia, different learning disabilities. They have access to live captioning. Oh, that was a service I kind of glossed over. I mentioned we had captioning for videos. We also do live captioning for events and for classes. If a student is deaf or hard of hearing, right now we use the Skype platform to do it, but we have a person either in our office or working remotely. They have a headset on, they've got a microphone set up in the class so that the lecture is being captioned in real time, which is great because that gives the person the ability to ask questions for clarification. They can do group work now. And also if you're having a meeting, we can do remote captioning for that as well. And again, it's we try to make it affordable for people to use. We know that budgets are tight, and we want to make sure accessibility is granted. So if you've ever come to any of our advisory council meetings, we have our ideas conference down in St. Simon's Island. We do a lot of captioning for those sessions, and you'll see the cart thing with the projection and everything going in real time. So that's an important resource for people that are deaf or hard of hearing, because sometimes a university can't spring for an ASL interpreter, but we can do captioning at a more affordable rate, and the person still has access to their classes. So, but yeah, important. We have all of that. Any University System of Georgia institution is a member of AMAC. So, if somebody needs that live captioning, if they need e-text, if they need anything for their classes, that's something that the university already has an agreement that they can provide. So another thing to keep in your your little mental toolkit of resources. It's good stuff that they do, or that we do, I guess. I'm a member of AMAC. All right. Any other questions? And I'm going to grab some business cards.
This is quite
I was
interesting.
going to ask if I could get a card from you.
I'm so glad I remembered business cards because I forgot my brochures, my other literature. Denise, would you like a card?
Sure.
I know you know how to get a hold of me, but
I got the names of
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.